Are you ready for increased inflation? It's coming, man. It's coming. Look, the tax foundation tells us who pays the tariffs? Americans will bear the cost of the next trade war. The GOAT has started his second term in office with announcements of more tariffs on Canada, Mexico, China, steel, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. Economic burden of the tariffs could cause U.S. consumers to pay higher prices because business will actually send the price increases to U.S. consumers. Huh, interesting. That's interesting. Oh my goodness, because of tariffs, wash machines, which were protected by tariffs, increased by about 86 per unit in the months following the tariffs, mind you, months. So these are just short-term increases, 86 per unit. But dryer prices increased too by 92 per unit. Wait, what? Even though dryers were not subject to tariffs. So basically, it's kind of like climate change. If it's cold, it's global warming. If it's hot, it's global warming. If prices go up, it's because of tariffs. But if prices go up on non-protected goods, it's because of tariffs too. It's like it's great to be an economist, man. You can blame everything you want on tariffs. All right, let's keep going. I can't stress this enough. While the tariffs predominantly resulted in complete pass-through, i.e. the increased prices, on imported prices. What are we trying to build? We're trying to build more domestic manufacturing. Thus, we don't have to rely on imports so much. That's what we're trying to do because we've been relying on imports too long. But anyway, while that happens, generally speaking, these guys say, study retail prices that final consumers face for handbags, tires, refrigerators, and bicycles at two large retailers. In the first, again, months. We're just talking months here. We're not talking years. Following the tariffs, they observed no price changes. What? No price changes? And as the tariffs increased from 10 to 25%, the prices of handbags and tires rose rapidly, while the prices of refrigerators and bicycles did not move. So, again, we're going to attribute the increases to tariffs. Even though it didn't happen, the whole thing's just so freaking stupid, dude. I'm going to prove it to you otherwise. Let's just check this out. Overall, they found a 10 percentage point tariff increase on a good increased the good's final prices by 0.44% after 1 year. 0.44%. So what cost $10 now costs 4.4 cents more? Huh? If that's even right. After a year, we're going to blame that on tariffs. Okay. Finally, while more tariffs are likely to raise prices from imported goods, they will have how they affect overall price and inflation depends on the Federal Reserve. Interesting. So tariffs don't really raise prices is what we're saying here. Isn't that right, Tax Foundation? The price level wouldn't directly increase in response to tariffs. Because if businesses or consumers have to pay more for tariff goods, or higher priced domestic substitutes to keep the American worker working, then they have less income to spend elsewhere. So they're saying now we're hearing that it's not inflationary. It's called the substitution effect. You got to spend more there, you'll spend less here, which means it levels off. Very interesting. They change their tune no matter what. The bottom line is that contrary to President Trump's claims, America will bear the cost of the next trade war in the form of lower incomes as tariffs cause prices of imports to rising. All right, so let's check this out. We're going to read from, these are all the economists that I follow. Douglas Irwin's book, and I talked about this in the live stream the other day on the Locals channel, so if you're not subscribed to my Locals channel, do so below. I'm going to share with you page 298 on Douglas Irwin's book, which I just bought today because today's the boycott. You don't want to buy anything on Amazon today to support the policies of DEI. So how dare I buy all my books today on Amazon that I've been waiting to buy when I'm supposed to be supporting the boycott? So freaking stupid. This is called Clashing Over Commerce, A History of U.S. Trade Policy. All right, so let's check this out. In the mid-1890s, U.S. trade underwent a remarkable transformation. Exports of manufactured goods surged, jumping to 35% of total exports by 1900 and reaching nearly 50% by 1913. Exports of manufactured goods resulted in about 50% of all U.S. exports being manufactured goods from 1890s to 1913. In the mid-1890s. Okay. Let's see. The United States quickly became a large net exporter around the turn of the century. Between 1890 and 1910, the U.S. reversed a century-old trade pattern based on exporting agricultural products and importing manufactured goods. The export surge began in the early 1890s. My shocked face. Exports of manufactured goods doubled in value between 1895 and 1900, increasing their share of, again, this is exports of manufactured goods from 1895 to 1900. They doubled. In this 5-year period, the volume of manufactured exports rose an astounding 90%. World War, let's see here. The key transition of this development, the key transition of this development was a decade after 1895. Interesting. That reflected an enormous increase in domestic production. In 1913, the United States accounted for 36% of the world's manufacturing production, which was up basically 15% from 1870. So what happened in 1890? We had the McKinley Tariff, a massive tariff, massive. That was the Republicans put that in, and we approved. That's the proof right there. In 1894, the Democrats reduced the McKinley Tariff by about 20% or so. And then in 1896, the Republicans had the Dingley Tariff, which put it up to, I'll show you right here. It's crazy. The Dingley Tariff of 1890, it actually was enacted in 1897, the most universally and comprehensively protective tariff ever enacted. It remained in effect for 30 years until 1909, making it the longest lasting piece of tariff legislation in U.S. history. Very interesting. In fact, let's see here. I'll show you how much it was. The average tariff rose from 42% in 1897, before the enactment of the Dingley Tariff, to 52% in 1899. The tariff was 52% in 1899, and the economy started to boom. I'll prove it to you. Check this out. By the way, if you're not following me on X, Scanlon Josh, that's my handle. I like to say handle. These are the books I just bought today. Let's see. Right here. Here's a GDP. Can I make that bigger? Let's see if I can make it. There we go. This is real GDP, net of inflation. You can see right here, 1897, the Dingley Tariff was enacted. And watch the GDP just grow and grow and grow and grow. Interesting. McKinley Tariff. Democrat getting rid of the tariffs. Dingley Tariff. I mean, look at that. Tariffs speak for themselves. Oh, by the way, inflation was through the roof, Josh. Don't you know? Let's take a look. Was it? Let's take a look. Here's inflation. The enactment of the Dingley Tariff, 1897. 0, 0, negative 1.2, 1.2, 1.2, 1.2, 2.3, 1.1, negative 1, 2.3, 4.4, negative. So roughly 1.5 to 2% inflation on goods across the board. I got my friend Pete, who I was in the Army with, a great guy, goes, but don't you know, we can't do this anymore because we don't have the domestic manufacturing. Exactly! That's the point! We don't have the domestic manufacturing. We need to bring it back. We can bring it back. We can build it. Just like the $6 million man. We can build, this $6 million man, we can rebuild him. That's the domestic manufacturing. We have the technology. So the $6 million man is going to be the American working man once it. I'm not doing it, dude. I mean, I like sitting here in my freaking underwear, you know what I'm saying? But some of you guys, some men in particular, need these jobs, and they need to come back, and they're going to come back because the tariffs are going to make it come back. I'm not worried at all about increasing the prices. The evidence is just not there. All right, God bless. Love your thoughts. Smash that like button, and we'll see you next time.